Hello everyone! We're back at it again with another episode of Sa Totoo Lang, kung saan pinag-uusapan natin ang realidad ng buhay tungkol sa abogasya, law school at marami pang iba. Ako nga pala si Shara at kung mapapansin niyo, wala ang aking co-host for today's video na si Sydney. Kasi for context guys, puksaan ngayon sa UPLB. Like, ang daming exams, daming deadlines, at nagkataon lang nung may klase siya ngayon. Kaya, shout out sa'yo, Sydney. Sana ay nakakapag-recite ka dyan ng ayos. So, yon for last episode, pinag-usapan natin kung ato ba talaga yung isang abogado. Hindi naman yung gusto rin nating ma-achieve, diba, eventually. Especially for the law aspirants out there. Pero, meron tayong kailangang pagdaanan muna at yun ay, law school. Oh guys, ano ba yung dream law school nyo? Pero ayun, comment nyo dyan kung ano yung dream law school nyo. Kasi yung dream law school ko, dun na naka-enroll yung speaker natin for today. I'm so excited kaya introduce ko na siya. So, she is a graduate of BA Sociology at the University of the Philippines, Las Bañas, magna cum laude. She is an alumni member of the UPLB Pre-Law Society and is one of the batch leaders of Batch Doctrina Miranda. She also served as the Vice President and Disciplinary Actions Head of the UPLB Sociology Society. During her time at the university, working with the University Student Council as an executive administrator, she undertook overall supervision and management of the Students' Legal Aid and Assistance Committee. In 2024, she was inducted as a member of the PLS, an international honor society of the social sciences. And she was also invited and awarded membership to Pixie, another international honor society. O diba, dami ng honors guys. So she passed the Juris Doctor program entrance exams among the top law schools, namely Ateneo de Manila University School of Law Admission Test, University of the Philippines Law Aptitude Exam, San Beda University College of Law Entrance Exam, and De La Salle University Taniada Jopno School of Law Admissions Test. Currently, she is pursuing a Juris Doctor degree as a first-year law student at the Ateneo de Manila University School of Law. Here with us virtually, the ever-so-slayful my batchmate and our batch leader sa Pre-Law, Jeda Katrina Marie v. Abenina, also known as Pixie.
Oh, thank you so much. Grabe, that was such an intro. Yeah, thank you. And I just want to say thank you for having me. And there were like so many hoops we had to jump through bago tayo magkaroon ng final schedule. So I appreciate then the time you're giving me. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to our little podcast episode today. I'm nervous actually. Parang ako nag-reset.
Sobrang privilege kasi nasiksik mo pa talaga. For context guys, kakauwi niya lang ng 5 a.m. at ngayon
Oh my God, grabe sa reveal.
Grabe, 9 a.m. ngayon. So, wala pa siyang kiwulog. Thank you po sa inyong
That's alright,
effort.
it's alright.
So,
It's exam week na kasi for us. So like finals week and today I just so happened to like not have an exam. So tomorrow pa exam ko. So today I was free talaga. So let's make it work. Let's make it work. That's alright. Yeah.
okay. So, actually, for today's podcast, iikot lang naman yung pag-uusapan natin sa tanong na, paano ba pumasa ng law school? Pero before that, kwentuhan mo na lang kami tungkol sa pangarap mo sa pag-aabogado. Paano ka umabot na, ay, gusto ko mag-abogado?
Oh my God, this is such a question actually. I have to argue na half of my law school experience so far. So, di ba, nakaka-one sem pa lang ako. Pero like, arguably, half the law school experience is like actually finding out if you even want to be like a lawyer. Pag nandiyan na yung realidad na, oh, this is what like lawyers do, you kind of have to start thinking na, oh, is this really what I want to do for the rest of my life? Ganon. So, ako naman, like personally, the idea of becoming a lawyer came to me like a bit late na. Kasi throughout my life, the game plan was really doctor. Sorry, it's giving eldest daughter of an Asian household. But like that was really the reality for me. yung family ko din kasi we had mostly people in the medical field, not much in the legal, so more in business and medical. So yun, doctor yung idea. Nag-STEM ako for senior high in Manila Science. And during the college applications, as in kalagitnaan, okay? So syempre, isip ko, okay, sige, apply tayo ng pre-med kasi magdo-doctor tayo. Like, I found out, takot pala ako sa dugo. Okay, so like, so hindi tayo pasok, okay? And then, my parents kasi at the time, it was okay naman with me. Pero my parents naman at the time, they were like, gusto lang talaga nila for me would be, engineer, doctor, or lawyer. Okay, so, okay, so X na tayo. Asian dream, right? And that's okay. Okay naman sa akin. Masunurin akong anak, I would say. So, okay, X na tayo sa doctor, obviously, kasi takot ako sa dugo. And then, girl, bobo kasi ako sa math. So, not my strong suit. So, hence, through the process of elimination, ang tira na sa akin is lawyer.
Wow,
Kaya tayo
parang
napadpad.
naman nila.
Diba? Kaya tayo napadpad sa BA Sociology program. I chose it as my pre-law. And yeah, so I feel like the idea of becoming a lawyer, it's still something I'm adjusting to then. Kasi I wouldn't call it like a dream. Like, as in like, hindi ko siya like na-form since bata. But it's definitely something that I want to look forward to. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's that for me.
Gets. I mean, I think some of our viewers could also relate to that. Kasi ako personally din, nalaman ko lang gusto ko mag-lawyer or mag-law school nung college na. Kasi I also wanted to become a doctor. So, ayun. Pero kasi din, nangungopia lang ako ng pangarap nun. Kaya sabi ko, I want to be a doctor. So, sige, doctor na. So, ayun. So, if any one of you is trying to figure things out pa kung ano ba gusto mo maging, that's okay and that's totally normal. 'Di ba? So, yeah. Kwentuhan mo naman kami ngayon kung kamusta naman yung law school journey mo, te? Wait, applying for law school journey. Like, nahirapan ka ba nung nag-a-apply ka or sakto lang?
Okay, during the application period, as far as I remember kasi, it was a little harder for me specifically kasi during this time, my last sem in college, no? So, tama ba? The application period started differently for different schools. So, medyo nakaka-anxious pag nakikita mo na, may requirements na. But it was a little harder kasi nag-18 units ako and nagtithesis. So, definitely, I would say is that if you're planning to apply to law school, if you can like prepare some things ahead of time, do so, as well as coordinate with the registrar so they know what you need. Kasi halos na-clutch ko lang yung pag-request ko ng certificate of candidacy for graduation. So that's because like diretso ko siya in-applyan. But like if you finish naman your degree before applying, then that shouldn't be a problem. Kasi they're different yung application process for those who are still finishing their degree versus those na, na tama, like nagpahinga muna. And then, it wasn't that hard then kasi, oh my God, market. But with the help kasi ng PLS, we had like a group chat nun dati with all the other aspiring applicants. And then parang siyang email blast. Honestly, like, there were reminders and there were overviews and sinasend din sa amin if like may open na school. So I had like a good general overview of what I needed. The process itself was pretty straightforward kasi like schools naman have like websites on like what's listed and what's needed. But what I did was like I made a separate list pa para hindi ko need like i-open every now and then yung school. And then like I made like a list of common stuff. Tapos times 5 ko lang yung like yung pag-request ko ng birth cert, yung mga stuff like that. So yeah, that's like yung idea.
Yeah.
So, if you're planning to apply for law school, dapat as early as now, nag-search ka na talaga ng calendar dates nila. Kailan ka sila nag-a-apply? Kailan ko ba kailangang i-process to mga papers? So, to kasi diba sa school, pag nag-request ng papers, it takes a while. Yung lang pwedeng ura-urada, kunin lahat. And, thank you for mentioning, no? Sige, yun din yung perks of becoming part of the UPLB Pre-Law Society.
Oh my God, of course!
Yeah, young people, nakasabay mo sa pag-a-apply, diba? Kasabay mo sa stress. And, siguro, if ever man, there are also law school directory out there. So, we could also make use of that. So, baka magwebas din ng UPLB PLS. Alam mo?
Yeah.
Abangan
There's so
natin.
many law school directories, like, pag sinearch mo. But I do have to mention, like, the biggest hiccup in my application was, actually, naka-enroll na ako, okay? So, naka-enroll na ako sa Ateneo, but because it's like a conditional enrollment, kasi hindi pa tapos yung degree ko. Kasi, di ba late yung graduation ng UPLB?
Yeah.
Like, the latest of every UP university. So, what happened was, ayaw nila ako papasukin sa Ateneo without the certificate of completion.
Oh.
Kasi ito naman si UPLB, ayaw i-release yung certificate of completion ko.
Girl, palisin mo
Kasi-
na ako.
Girl, like, super nag-overlap yung schedule kasi Ateneo started very early and UPLB ended very late. So I would say that's a big consideration. Halos kinalampag ko na yung registrar ng UPLB tsaka Ateneo to make it work. Okay, like the day na ni-release yung certificate ko was the deadline ng Ateneo. Nakiusap lang ako if I can submit it past 5 p.m. Kasi syempre galing pang UPLB yung mom ko.
Yeah.
Kinuha pa niya yung certificate ko. I had class that day kaya hindi pwedeng ako yung kumuha. It was like hectic, girl. Like, so I think about it and I think about the tears I have cried. So it was
Right.
crazy. So yun. So,
Grabe
like, I would
yung
suggest mapping it out.
sakripisyo.
For sure. Yan. Yun lang. Yun lang.
Pero everything worked out in the end naman. Ngayon, kayo nandyan ka na sa atin na So happy and proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. So sige, let's go down to what we will be talking about. So, pengen naman kami ng law school entrance exam tip. So, could you give us like a brief overview of the coverage of the exams you took, especially dun sa 4 law schools na pinuntahan mo?
All right. So for me, an important thing to note then is that my batch or the people who took the exam with me, I guess, mostly online pa yung test. So I'm not sure about this year if they're gonna start bringing back face-to-face examinations. But I took mine online for every school. So that's Beda, Ateneo, UP, except LaSalle. LaSalle was able to conduct theirs in a face-to-face setup na. So even though yung LaSalle campus na in-applyan ko, BGC for law, the exam was held sa main campus nila in Manila. So that's Vita Cruz, if I'm not mistaken. The overview naman for the topics, most of the entrance exams covered the same thing. So there was critical thinking, lots of reading comprehension, vocabulary definitely heavier. But the difference was like for UP, for the UP LAE, there was math, okay? So kaya din ako nag-review because that's really what like scared me. But yeah, yun lang yung major difference. I would say some of the schools had like longer coverage for certain things. Yung iba naman, parang hindi clear cut kung ano talaga yung coverage nitong part. Pero parang siyang language, parang siyang critical thinking, ganon. But like, I would say the overview is language proficiency, critical thinking, verbal reasoning, verbal analogy, of course, and a bit of quantitative reasoning. In the UPLE, there was a yung shapes, so yung abstract, yung parang what patterns, ganun. So yeah, yun yung like overview lang.
Okay, so wait lang. First time ko marinig na uple. Uple pala tawag dun, sis.
Or UPLAE? What is it? LAE? What is it? I don't know.
Lae yung alam ko. Pero
Lae.
pagka mabango ka yata, uple. Okay, noted.
Oh my God. Pakat na lang.
Hindi, isama natin yun.
Among doon sinabanggit mong coverage, Pixie, saan ka pinaka nahirapan? Well, may language proficiency, mayroong critical thinking, logic. Saan yung pinaka na-challenge ka, Ti?
Definitely yung sa UPLAE. So, definitely the math portion, yung quantitative reasoning. Again, like I said, like definitely has never been my strong suit. Girl, bakit kasi like pinag-compute ng velocity or something? It's like, tsaka displacement. And these are like basic concepts naman. But like, I feel like ang tagal ko na kasi sila hindi na-encounter in my pre-law, like as a Humes major. So, it was a little hard to refresh. But if you're coming from a course naman with like math, I think it would be pretty basic, nothing too intense. But otherwise, another challenging portion might be yung verbal or yung reading comprehension because it was really long. Like the passages were designed to be really long and time consuming. And I think an additional factor was dahil online, ang hirap kasi like you have to like scroll and then move back sa ibang pages. Depende sa software eh. So parang hindi mo siya like nakikita. So I feel like that was like why it was harder. And another like medyo challenging coverage would be logical reasoning. So there were like these things called logic games. So parang if it was like if you guys remember yung tautology table, yung truth
Yes.
tables, yung P, then Q, blah, blah, blah. So there were like a lot of those. And it was a little refreshing. Pero may pagka-challenging din siya, depending then on which exam.
Right. So, nabanggit mo yung of course, kasi di ba since humanities majors tayo, ganyan. So, did sociology help you with the exam? And can you give us tips for those naman na galing sa STEM, for example, di ba? Meron din bang silang pagbuhugutin kapag ka nag-law exams na sila?
Yeah, so I would say the advantage of taking BA Sociology for me in terms of the entrance exam was it was a very reading heavy course. So I wasn't that daunted when I saw yung amount of readings I had to go through sa mismong entrance exam. So parang, oh, okay, it's easy to skim through because like medyo sanayan lang sa sociology to do that. But in terms of the exam naman, I wouldn't say there was like a hard edge that I felt kasi again, there was math and then yung logical reasoning. I feel like these are things that you can have in any course naman. And actually, I want to mention then when you get into like law school itself, I wouldn't say there's any edge to any degprog. I've encountered lots of people from different college backgrounds. I have a friend, she's actually a physics major. Meron din akong ECE, so that's like an electronics engineering guy. You will encounter lots of legal management and political science students, philosophy majors, but I've never noticed a particular edge. What matters is pasok ka sa requirements ng law school na yon. And then like just get through it. There's no real edge, I would say. So even if STEM major ka or Hume's student, I think it's all right. Like you just need to be able to go through the exam because it's designed to be like time crunch. So you just need to be fast. That's it. No real edge.
Grabe, so greatest equalizer talaga ang law school. So, pag nakapasok kayo guys, go na yan. Congrats. Congrats.
Forget the guy.
Diba? Pero ito naman sis, how did you prepare for the law school entrance exam? Like, how did you review?
Okay, my review process was actually so I heard of review centers a little late na. Like I didn't know na those were a thing talaga that were offered. Because again, like I mentioned, I was super going through like a hectic time in my college life. I was finishing my thesis and nag-overload ako that sem. So, and dalawa yung PE classes ko. I just want to put it out there. I was fighting for my life. Yeah, so what I did na lang is I mostly based on online materials. Like I searched up then what I might need to review. Shout out to Khan Academy. Definitely hard carried everything logic related that I studied. But I also was able to think of purchasing, kasi nakikita ko na sa ads ko yung mga reviewers. So I did purchase 2 reviewers from Shopee. Ay, hindi ko sila like 100% naubos. I just went through yung parts I feel like I needed help with. So, wait. I'm gonna turn off my background so I can show you guys real quick. Here, so yeah, I'm in my room. So this is one of them. Guys, it's not a sponsorship. I bought this one kasi plastic covered na daw siya. So I was like, oh, okay, bawas work. And then what this covers is dati kasi there used to be like a PhilSat. We no longer have that. Each law school has their own exam na. Pero like it's designed as if like, diba, tinuto walang laman, no? Hindi ko but like I put book tabs ba. So some parts, ayan. So the math parts I did. And I also bought one for the LAE, specifically this one. Then again, it also says PhilSat, but we no longer have that. So this one is designed talaga for the LAE. Then I use this one as a general one because I didn't notice if Ateneo or BED or LaSalle had specific reviewers, but then there's one for the LAE apparently. So yeah, these are the review materials that I use. Dalawa lang, and then like online na lang yung iba. And I did remember opening my notes from my college entrance tests from so long ago para din sa math portion. But otherwise, like I just used those 2 reviewers and yeah, that was my review process.
Right.
So basically, nakapag DIY ka, Pixie, and yet pumasa ka sa apat. Grabe na talaga. So kaya guys.
Kaya naman kapasa kahit like,
kaya.
diba? So,
And like yung pre-law society then, the GC I had back then with the other applicants, nagbigay din kasi sila ng review materials as well as like from the alumni. We had like a whole session and they were able to give us like an overview of what to expect as well as yung notes din nila. So that was definitely another like addition to like the materials I had used.
Yes, I think it's really good then to have a community who would really help you na specifically catered for this kasi hindi naman lahat gusto talaga mag-law school. So, to have someone like seniors and connections that could help you with this journey is really a good help. And thank you rin po sa pagpapakita ng yung review books, 'di ba? At saka, ang galing mo talaga, girl, kasi nagtitesis ka and all, tapos napasa pa rin talaga. I think, guys, eto ha, parang bukod sa pagiging ka-orgmate dati, ang galing talaga ni Pixie. Like, feeling ko, hindi sa totoong tao, AI talaga siya.
Guys, I'm just like a figment. No,
You're
like when
overachiever
I
ka
took the
talaga to
exam
ever
then,
since.
like, girl, when I took the exam, I was like, if I pass, edi, yay, but if I don't, it's okay. Kasi I was like doing so much at that time. And I feel like I couldn't like dedicate a lot of time to review. Nagsastudy hub pa ako nun, pero like magdadala ako ng reviewer, pero sa totoo lang, magtitesis pa ako. So, by the time I'm done with my thesis revisions, I'm really tired na. So, there's that. So, it was like, hindi ko siya natutukan 100%. But like, nakalusot naman. So I feel like for other people, especially those na are finished now with their degree prog and they've got more time, there's like a bigger advantage for sure.
Could you tell us like a glimpse how does your day how does your day look like? Like, di ba, ang dami mong ginagawa by thesis, may HK ka pa. So, like, ilang hours yung na-dedicate mo for like your due for law school entrance exam?
Okay, I get the question. So what happens is like because I do have like a lot on my plate, syempre uubusin ko muna yung school works ko. And yeah, I've always been a morning person. So in the morning, tatapusin ko muna lahat na like pwede kong gawin academic wise, like for the workload ng thesis talaga priority ko noon. So anything thesis related, that's first thing I'll get done, and then any readings or paperworks. And usually, when I do have time na matitira in the day, tsaka ako makakapag-review for the LAE or the entrance exams. So, another factor din kasi is, when I was still in Los Baños, I would stay sa library. Suki talaga ako dun sa live natin, girl. Like, I feel like I live there. Like, kulang na lang maligo ako doon. So I would have my meals there sa alfresco area. So anyway, the thing is, ayoko kasi magdala ng reviewer. Baka kasi like maudlot or like ma-jinx. So like, I don't study for the entrance exams outside or during yung working hours. I would do it na after hours or when I'm at the study hub. So usually, ang review time ko is at night. And then I just set like a goal. Sometimes it's in terms of hours. Kapag hindi ko talaga alam like what I want to cover, I just set like hours. Like kunwari, for the remaining 3 hours of the night, I'm gonna study as much as I can. And then sometimes naman, ang gagawin ko is subject-based. So if vocab, hahatiin ko siya sa like words and then like sentence structures and things like that. So it wasn't fixed. Kasi I feel like lolokohin ko lang sarili ko if I made like a fixed schedule. Kasi an important part was flexibility. Definitely, it can't be too rigid. At least for me. Kasi I had so much on my plate. And at first, I tried making new schedule talaga. Tapos like na-frustrate lang ako because like nadederail yung plans ko every time I have like additional workload. So it was more of a what do I feel like doing, and realistically, what can I accomplish with enough sleep to do more things tomorrow? Yeah, because as a morning person, antok na ako ng 9 p.m. So usually 11 deads na. Nothing going through it. So yeah.
Right. So like, really, just time management, guys. Time management and also be realistic to yourself. Hindi na pick up ko din lang, girl, okay lang hen kung hindi mo talaga kayo mag-aaral at this point
No,
in
for
time.
sure, yeah.
Diba?
Rest is important. Like, it's also important to be realistic. Kasi mapafrustrate ka. Ako, I personally got very frustrated when I can't reach yung goal na sinet ko. And then I realized like, girl, sino ba kasi may gantong goal? Like, so, I would say definitely rest and be more realistic, And it's actually easier to study if parang you're not in a bad mood, if you feel like nakatulog ka. So, in hindsight, you're faster pa nga if like you give yourself some grace.
Get. Sabi nga nila ay rest is productive. So, I hope for everyone na preparing for something kahit hindi law school, kung iba nagbo-board exam for their personal undergraduate programs, right? So, sana masali natin siya sa mismong schedule. Okay, for these hours, I will really just rest. Rest. Kasi importante talaga siya, guys. And it affects the quality of work and learning that we get when we study OLAB. Okay? So, punta naman tayo, Pixie, dun sa interview na part. Kasi di ba may nung interview counterparts yung ilang law school. So how did you emotionally or like academically prepare for those interviews?
Okay, for the interview portion, full disclosure, I actually did not get to do any interviews for, yeah, okay, so this year around, usually kasi for the UPLA, what happens dati, like in the previous years, or based on my pagtanong ko sa seniors and other forums is dati, when you pass, automatically may attached na review and na interview. For this year around, there was an introduction of outright passers and those for interview. So may mga hindi na dumaan sa interview and there were those who needed an interview. So I got categorized like when I passed, for interview ako. But then around this time kasi, okay, so my personal crisis ensued dito because like I also passed Ateneo as an outright passer. So same system in Ateneo, you could be an outright passer or you could be for interview. So that's like an additional step pa. And then at this time, I was thinking na kung saan ako papasok, like which one I wanted, and if dadaan pa ako sa interview ng UP. Because like I felt like, oh no, my heart's set in Ateneo, so bakit pa ako magpapa-interview sa UP? And an additional factor was during this time, like yung schedule ko for interview, my family and I were overseas, like nasa Japan kami. And I think yung day na yun, pupunta dapat kami sa Disneyland. And then, like, ayaw ko payagan ng mom ko mawala sa Disneyland trip namin to take an interview. Sabi niya sa akin, di ka naman papasok dyan. Ganun. So, what for? And then, like, I was like, yeah, you're kind of right. So, I didn't take the interview just to solidify then my commitment to already choosing the law school that I wanted from the start. So, I have nothing to say about it. There's nothing I can contribute. But what I heard from other people, syempre nakichika ako, no? It's like, it's more of like a test on how you answer questions and how responsive you are. And the questions that were thrown at them weren't like too specific. Like they were kind of a general overview of like how you felt about certain socio-political issues. So, but what I heard then from other seniors who were giving us tips on how to prepare for the interview was to make sure you're updated sa news and like be well read and like make sure nasusubaybayan mo any like important national or international developments. But I feel like these things naman come naturally to us as people. Like that's a very basic social responsibility. So not much preparation, I would say, would be needed. And again, for those naman who don't want to do an interview, there's like an outright passer. So as long as you do really well sa exam, there's really no need pa to go through an interview. At least no my time. I'm not sure if they'll make it mandatory this time around.
And for the viewers' context, you took the law school entrance test 2024, right?
Kailan ba yung Tama ba? I think, no. I think 2023 and then I waited for the results ng 2024.
I see.
Time is a social construct.
Actually, nalalos na rin ako sa time yun na like, right? So, parang during those times, ganun talaga yung naging circumstance mo. And, pero kaya ka ba napalitaan na, is it yung system ba na kuwari for interview tas yung outright passer? Based lang talaga sa exams or meron bang basis, for example, pasin yung sito from Hume's na course, ganyan?
Okay. That's definitely like a conversation that's depending on the school and it's very chica based. Like you will not, syempre, the registrars won't tell you exactly what they're looking for, but there's a weight or like a reason behind why they ask for your history as well as your true copy of grades mo. They look at like the subjects you've taken, any units, what school you're from. So I would say I can't exactly give what the advantages are, pero for sure may mga hinahanap ang different schools. I want to argue that I feel like syempre if like it's UP Law, maybe they have a preference for UP students, but like don't quote me. And I can't say that for sure.
Maybe. Emphasis on the maybe, guys.
Yeah, just maybe, diba? It makes sense kasi parang siyang parent school eh. So, but I don't think there's any clear na sasabihin sa website, no? But I'm pretty sure, at least what I can say is that there's a weight to like the grades you submit. So if you're still finishing your undergrad, galingan pa sa last sem para,
Yes.
para maganda yung grades. Pero yeah, don't worry about it. I know some people then right now in Ateneo who if maririnig man to ng tropa ko, just look away. I'm not outing you. But I definitely know someone na there were like INCs in their record. And they're still here. And I actually also had one INC. So, and I know someone who had like a failing mark in their true copy of grades. And they got in naman. So, I think very rigorous, or it's like a case-to-case basis din ng pag-analyze. So, no clear-cut rule. So, what I can say is like, just do your best.
So sabi nga nila, the world did not end when I got this feeling grade. Kasi diba,
Sure.
nakapasok palis kayo. And siguro din naman dun sa UP, kasi from what I heard, yung ibang nakapang-interview for UPLA, parang kinanong daw sila, ano yun, parang, why should UP or the nation still, nagtataga na ako. Parang bakit, pag-aaralin ka pa ulit ng 4 na taon ng libre ng UP. Kasi nga, diba, galing ka ng UP, tapos pag-aaralin ka na naman. So, may ganun daw.
Okay.
So, I guess really it's case-to-case basis. And we'll never know kung ano talagang hinahanap nila. But we could get some tips from our slayers. Kaya, thank you so much for that, Pixie. Meron ka bang, ito na, last na to for this part. Kasi diba mayroong mga units na kailangan, for example, sa UTLA, may 8 units of English, 18 units of social sciences. So, pag-kuwari kung di mo yun na satisfy, could you still take the UPLA? Or is that a requisite?
I remember before applying, I did call the different law schools that I planned on applying to confirm if kasi usually the specificities lie in the English, math, and science units ata. I mean, every course naman has like yung required na 3 Rizal units, so that's fine. Medyo nahirapan lang ako sa English units because I think nagkulang ako ng like 6 ata based sa DegProg ko. So I did use my free electives to make up for those, to take more English units. And I made confirmations pa, like, is a communication course counted as an English unit course? And then yes naman daw. And how it works is, as far as I know, for the LAE, they're not super strict then with this requirement, as well as in Ateneo. I wasn't very sure about San Beda, but at least for UP and for Ateneo during my time, what they told me is if there are any insufficiencies or like gaps dun sa units, you're actually going to be allowed to like make up for them naman once you're in the law school itself. So they'll tell you if like you need to take an extra course para like i-make up. But I know kasi someone from Econ naman, so Econ graduate siya of his undergrad, and then kulang siya sa English units. Actually, kaklase ko siya sa Ateneo. And then the registrar hasn't actually like given him specific instructions yet, or hindi naman siya like tinanggal because of that. So I don't think they're as strict, and definitely it's not that big of a deal. Basta malapit siguro. But like I think every course naman has English, science, and math. So not that far off. Yeah.
So guys, you can always inquire dun sa school na gusto yung puntahan. And yeah, begging it naman sila from what I've heard as well. So, I know na hindi ka nakapag-review center at kinayam pa rin makakasama. Pero do you have like any idea of the price ranges? Magkano kaya yung review center, sis?
Right, oo nga eh. Wait, napapaisip din. I don't have any real idea of how much review centers cost, but the review centers I heard of that were sulit daw was yung sa Brain Train and yung White Elephant. So I actually did not know when the Brain Train had a law school review center. Yeah, wait lang, baka mamaya misinformation na. So if I'm wrong, don't quote me.
Yes.
But I did do Brain Train for my college entrance exam. So if ever may law school ano man sila, I would trust them 100%. Again, hindi ko sponsored. It's just because I got to do it. I think even ACAD Gateway, tama ba? They also have ata. But like price range wise, unfortunately, I'm so sorry, I cannot provide anything. And I'm pretty sure they'll change it then this year if they do plan on having it in person instead of online. Because from what I heard last year, at least during the time of my examinations, everything was done online. So there were like scheduled Zoom sessions, but it's a one-time payment ata. It's not a per session thing. So actually, if you just search it up din naman sa Facebook, magsisilitawan na sila. And just say law school enough times, your algorithm is gonna show you different things. So it's there na, I would say. Yeah.
Okay. So, sige, thank you so much for that. Like, I just want to ask you, among all the 4 law school entrance exam you took, which one do you think is the hardest?
Definitely, easily Ateneo, the hardest exam for me. But there were different factors then. Like, it was the first law school exam I took. So, syempre, kabado. And it's like, online pa. And it's like, oh my God. Na-disconnect pa ako during the exam. Like, I felt like crying. I was like disconnected for 10 whole minutes. I was like, please.
Grabe, yung kaba mo dun, te.
Yeah, nasa dorm ako noon. I was taking the exam from my dorm. I was like, please. Papatsukin niyo ako. And it was also hard for me kasi it was the first exam, diba? So, and I didn't review nga as hard. Like, I very much focused on yung math portion. Eh, wala kasing math sa Ateneo, like Ateneo entrance exam. So, I walked in there and then there were like questions sa parang I was like, hala, oo nga. And then like there were words that I didn't know dun sa vocab. And I was like, oh, ba't di ko to alam? And stuff like that. So, there were jitters, like first time exam taker kind of vibes. And in general, I think the exam was hard kasi very long yung passages and the sections were timed. You had to finish certain sections at a certain time, and then you move on to the next. And yeah, so that's what also made it hard. And in general, I think the questions were harder then for the reading comprehension. Like, ang dami kong pinagdudahan when I was answering. And I don't remember that much about the other portions. I can just remember na I finished it and I was like scared. So I would say that's why it's the hardest. Yeah.
Pero sa San Beda and Lasal, meron din bang math portion or wala naman?
No na. Sa San Beda, the exam was mostly reading comprehension and just a little bit of logic, but mostly reading comprehension, honestly. The bulk of it was reading compre. And then for LaSalle, there was an essay portion actually sa LaSalle at the end, as well as a character fitness something. So your emotional intelligence, there was like that additional portion. But also the bulk of everything is reading compre and vocab. So yeah, there was that.
Yes. So among these 4 scores, which one had the lengthiest process?
Lengthiest process siguro Ateneo kasi nga hindi ako pinapapasok, andun na ako sa school. Tapos, like, yung certificate of completion ko, but in terms of, like, bago mag-exam, no? Like, before the exam itself, I can't say which one had the lengthiest process because they all asked for similar things. Certificate of candidacy for grad. Syempre, yung mga favorite natin, 2x2, birth cert, ganon. I wouldn't say there's any real difference on which one had the longest process. But like in terms of getting in, I guess there's an additional step sa if you need an interview. So syempre nakakakaba din yun. And if you're applying for scholarships, definitely an additional step pa. But looking back, I don't think I can say with like finality if there was like if I felt like if there was a significant difference in like length of process. First lang sila mahirap, lahat sila hassle. So,
Kailangan lang talagang tabamuhin, no?
And also, it's hard kasi depende din on the people you ask for recommendation letters from.
Okay, so we're talking about recommendation letter. And speaking of that, kasi sino bang pwedeng hingan ng gano'n? Kasi baka yung iba, sino nga ba? Paano pag wala akong ka-close na prof, ganyan? Pero at your end, how did you come up with saying, ito yung hihingan po na recommendation letter?
Okay, so I don't know if it's like legal to disclose who I got my recommendation letter from. But I'm not sure if I can say that, so I'm just not going to. But you can see naman in the application what the schools are looking for. So it could be a previous employer. So the hard rules are basically, syempre bawal family members. Like, awa na lang, di ba? And bawal din yung basta friends. So they have to be people of certain positions. For students, it could be like the dean or like the department head. Any professor na you had your class with them. I'm not sure if they double check it kasi what happened hindi na siya handwritten eh. Dati kasi diba old school, you would give them like a form, tapos they would give it in a sealed envelope. This
Yes.
time around, it's more of an automated electronic system na parang they send it directly na kasi sa email ng person you're recommending. So if you, again, so I would say maybe you need a tech savvy person to take your recommendation because it's very online na everything. So you don't see it na. You don't see it happen. And I don't know if like they cross-check na, oh, naging estudyante mo ba talaga to and stuff like that. Or how
Yeah.
did you know them? Or is there like a phone call involved? Because they ask for like the email as well as like
Mm.
contact number. So it's very possible that they call them. So what you can choose from is like, a previous employer or someone you've worked with or dean for those who are still
Yes.
studying. And so I'm not saying magtropa na kayo ng profs, but I think if you have like subjects na baka mataas ka or like you knew talaga the prof or they knew you, that's who I would recommend. I knew people who had like for Ateneo at least, like I asked my seniors, saan sila kumuha ng recommendations. Some of them had like workmates ng parents nila who are already lawyers. So hindi necessary na attorney. Not really. Anyone who can give like a good like testamentary to your character, it's okay. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So, nababalik mo kanina, parang ang dami ko nagdaanan sa Ateneo. Pero, why did you still end up choosing that school as your law school?
For me, the Ateneo Law was always my dream law school. When I figured out I wanted to take law, I definitely aimed for Ateneo because of yung performance din nila in the recent bar examinations. You can always see top school vibes, ganon. I also had like a crisis of I have to be like very, like to disclose lang. Syempre, I had a crisis as a UP student. Why not go to UP Law? That made the most sense. And even when I told my friends, some of the people I knew, like when I passed Ateneo, that I was going to Ateneo Law, there were some responses like, oh, ba't hindi UP? Or like, hindi ka ba pumasa ng UP? Ganon. And like, I would have to clarify, no, I passed naman. It's just, this is like the school I'm choosing. A big factor for me was the environment and culture. I wanted to move away from para maiba. Like, there's nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, gusto ko mag-rebrand. No. But like, yeah, also in terms of like, moving, like, parang out of your comfort zone din ang hanap ko. And I heard kasi na Ateneo was more bar ready. Kasi there were like, during fourth year daw kasi like, it's very geared towards preparing you for the bar. And Ateneo's curriculum provides more room for like electives. So if you're figuring out what you want to specialize in, you're given more opportunity to do so now in Ateneo. This is like based lang off of things I asked from my seniors in UP and in Ateneo. So it's not a hard rule. And as well as in terms of proximity kasi to where I live. Like I have a condo kasi in Mandaluyong. So it's closer for me to get to Rockwell. The Ateneo campus is in Rockwell. So there's that. As well as I guess like in general lang, the vibe. Like I have to say, the vibe of the school gets me a little better than the other school. So there's that. Ganun.
Right. So, vibe check lang din talaga. And I'm so glad you got to live out your dream there in Ateneo. And for everyone who has a different D school, go for it, guys. It really depends on your preferences, diba? Pero, sana talaga kumasa tayong lahat, diba? So, speaking of that, do you have any tips and advice to our law aspirants listening to us right now?
As in like for when they get into law school na ba? Okay, so there's like a lot to unpack in terms of the law school experience. And if I'm being like honest, like I can say na it's a very humbling experience. And with humility, I can say na I'm not even sure if I'll make it to the next sem. Not just in terms of like grades. Definitely grades play a huge factor. But like I mentioned earlier in the start of this podcast was that half the experience of law school is figuring out if you really want to be here. I know lots of people who are like insane, like absolute beasts sa recits and like paperworks. But then when you talk to them, they'll tell you that they're not even sure if they want to be here. And then like it's a whole thing. So definitely come into law school with like an open like mind as well, and you will meet different people. So this is something that I talk about, like, different college backgrounds. Like I have a physics major friend, some people come from math courses. We have like a batchmate na nurse siya. Actually, there are also accountants, and different ages. So you learn more than about the community other than just legal concepts. And then it's no joke when they say, or baka that's just me, okay? At least for my experience, it was definitely no joke na you sacrifice like a lot in terms of sleep, in terms of rest, in terms of like your daily life. And it comes to play na din na kasi I'm a first year student. So another like half is like learning how to study. Like, mahirap na nga yung topics. Mahirap pa yung iisipin mo paano mo siya i-gets. Like, different study habits for different people. Sometimes may study groups and sometimes wala. But my biggest advice would definitely to have friends. I don't think it's something you can do alone. Definitely having a community and a support group is what got me through it, okay? Kasi hindi naman ako mag-aaral sa labas until 4 or 5 a.m. on my own. It helps to have people with you. And I guess like it's a little overwhelming then when you look at the books. Like I'm gonna show you one of my books. It's like here's a desk ko. I can show you. Wait lang. I'm gonna turn off my background again para makita. So ayan. So again, I say with humility. I'm not sure how well I study. So this is my RPC. It's got like a million tabs, and this is like one of our thinner books pa. And then we have this one. This one's like, so as you can see my bookshelf over there, there are more books pa. So you definitely go through those tips sa maglo-law school. Kung kaya mo mag-car para may locker ka where you can put your books, great. But otherwise, get a really sturdy bag. And I can't think of any other more practical tips other than you have to come to terms with the fact that law school is hard. It's a little harder, at least for me. And there were like lots of sacrifices along the way. I had to explain to my family na gabi kasi yung schedule ko, like I have classes that end at 9. So late na ako nakakauwi sa amin. Sometimes late na din ako nagigising. Like from a morning person, I now have to study at night. Sometimes my day starts at 10 p.m. And there's like a lot of self-reflection din na parang you change kasi as a person, I would say. I would say I'm different of who I started out before entering law school. So there's sacrifices and compromises, but overall, a fulfilling experience, I would say. It affects your relationships for sure. I think that's like a hard question for most people. It affects your relationships. It affects the way you see yourself, your eating habits, everything. It becomes like such a huge part of you. But like what my seniors say, and then other people and profs as well, is like to make sure that it doesn't consume you. Like at the end of the day, you're a person, you should have your hobbies. Like wag mo ibigay lahat para sa like, syempre do your best because you wanted to be here and you want to stay, but it's not you. Like you're still a person afterwards. So so my tip is like make sure you know who you are before you enter law school, and if you do notice you're changing, like don't worry about it. It's part of the process. Definitely there's lots of growth, ganon. So that's all I can say. So nothing philosophical to pull from, okay?
Thank you so much, Pixie, really, for gracing us with your time. I'm sure marami kaming napulot sa iyo. Kasi ako personally, ang dami ko natutunan. So, I hope na marami tayong tutunan for today. Sana may napulot tayo at sana makapulot din tayo ng pang-tuition pag nakapasara tayo ng law school. So, all the best to everyone who is preparing for their law school entrance test. And I hope to see you on our next episode. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Pixie. Bye-bye.